the presiding bishop of Trem, the Redeemed Evangelical Mission, Bishop Michael Okonkwo, MFR, the resident bishop and the visionary of the Trem Career Academy, Bishop Peace Okonkwo. She's on her way here. Please put your hands together for her. The Board of Trustees, elders, and pastors, deacons and deaconesses, group and ministry arm leaders of the Redeemed Evangelical Mission headquarters, the Trem Career Academy community, are esteemed faculty members and mentors and alumni here present. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our graduates and their family members who've come to celebrate with them, I'd like to welcome you all to the Redeemed Evangelical Mission Trem Headquarters Church. Beloved Tremites and our invited guests, it gives me great pleasure today to welcome you to another graduation ceremony of Trem Employability Program. It's another year gone, and for us at the Academy, it has gone by really very quickly. Last year, to the glory of God, in 2019, we successfully completed 2 streams of the Trem Employability opportunity already, and we believe that others are awaiting we believe that the opportunities are coming to the others shortly. To the glory of God, the Trem Employability Program is to attract young, smart graduates from across Nigeria and indeed from across the Christian world. This year, our 36 graduates come from largely the Redeemed Evangelical Mission Headquarters Church, many of our branch churches across Lagos and outside Lagos as well. We've got people from Ogun State, from all the way from the east as well, Trem branches, and all the Pentecostal churches. And for the first time in the history of the TEP, we received an application from a Muslim brother who joined us throughout the program and today is graduating with the TEP. Hallelujah. The theme for the graduation seminar this year is navigating today's job market. So why did we choose this theme this year? We chose this theme because the objective of the Trem Employability Program is to develop and upskill our graduates, to hone their skills and pay attention to what is important for employers in today's market. It is no longer a secret that, and it's no longer news, that unemployment continues to be at the core, at the center stage of youth empowerment within this country. Sadly, unemployment figures and statistics continue to stagger at a rate that is not very encouraging to the young Nigerian graduate. So as we speak today, the available statistics for 2019 show us that Nigerians' unemployment rate sits at about 23%. Now that is huge. It's quite discouraging for today's youth. So the question is, what is the solution? Or better still, what are the reasons why unemployment continues to trend in this direction? What do we need to know about unemployment in Nigeria? I think that we have this outcome for several reasons. We have this picture for several reasons. And I'm going to just touch on a few of this picture, of these reasons why we have this picture. And I'm going to leave the rest to our esteemed keynote speaker today, our guest speaker today, and our very, very seasoned panelists that will be talking to us about how recruitment is done in Nigeria. I'm going to leave them to help us to unpack the subject of why we have this picture in Nigeria today. Some of the valid reasons, in my view, are: 1, scarce employability skills in the market. 2, ineffective approach to job search. In other words, our graduates are not looking well in the market. 3, weak curriculum in the universities, such that the graduates that actually, come out, that are churned out in the market, are really not super employable. And 4, the demand and supply of labor in itself is imbalanced. So we've got too few jobs available for too many graduates that are churned out annually by the education sector. 5, and by no means the last, poor perception by the candidates of the employment landscape. So our candidates really don't understand what the employment landscape looks like. Why is it important for them to ensure that they possess certain skills? It's very clear to today's average graduate. So, more importantly, we're going to be throwing our attention on that today in this graduation, which is why we've included a recruiters panel so that we can bring this theme to life. If we focus on these few issues, then the question would be, what do we need to do differently as young graduates? The question would be, what are these employability skills? How can we possess the skills? Employability skills are simply a combination of skills, technical capabilities, and attitude, which sums up what the employer today is looking for when they go out to advertise to hire people. The Trem Employability Program, TEP, envisioned by our parents in the Lord, Bishop Mike Okonkwo and Bishop Peace Okonkwo, is designed to cater for this need in Nigeria. It's designed to cater for how do we close this employability gap. Now, at the TEP, we're mindful that this is our mandate. We're mindful that this program is not the only thing that will solve this employability gap, but it's of critical value that we continue to focus on how do we equip our graduates to make them more employable? And indeed, it's a multiple stakeholder challenge. And today we're glad and we're proud that the Redeemed Evangelical Mission is rising up as a stakeholder in this country to solve this problem and help close the gap, the employability gap for the Nigerian graduates. As far as job searches is concerned, I'd like to say that in my world, in human resources, we believe that there are jobs everywhere because we are always hiring. When I go into companies, they're hiring in the numbers. You're going to hear some of the recruiters talk about it today. So I'm asking myself, what's happening? Why do we have unemployment? Who is looking for who? Why are they not finding themselves? We're going to be answering those questions today. At today's graduation ceremony, we've provided an opportunity with the recruiters panel for our graduates to have dialogue with these recruiters. If you are looking for us and we are looking for you, why are we not finding each other? So we're going to be asking our seasoned recruiters, who recruit some of them in the hundreds, in the thousands, to tell us why is there a gap. I would like to mention more about the TEP. The TEP covers a total of 26 courses, which you can find in the brochure. It comes from across various fields and disciplines that are important for today's graduates to be more employable and indeed to excel in the workplace. I'm happy to note also today that our TEP alumni is beginning to really wax strong. They recently appointed their own executives. They recently chose their own logo. I found it a very exciting process when, I saw the various logos jumping, into their chat room. They're taking ownership of the mantra and the motto for the Trem Career Academy, which is holding their hands. At the Academy, we're committed to holding their hands until they get to the top. We're going to be hearing from some of our alumni today. On a social note, the Academy continues to fulfill the Word of God. We had a few alumni who got married in 2019. I thought you put your hands together for Jesus. I'm closing by saying a very big congratulations to all of them. Ogenekewe, congratulations. And in particular, we had 2 of the alumni members get married to one another. So, a big congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Nwankwa. They are our alumni couple. To all our TEP graduates today, in closing, remember that succeeding in the workplace is beyond the TEP. The TEP gives you an excellent foundation. You need a great attention to detail. You need to continue to acquire the right skills. You need to keep learning. You need to continue to grow. You need to stay disciplined and true to the tenets of Christianity at work. You need to be Christ-like when you get to the workplace. You need to ensure that Christ in you indeed shows the hope of glory. And all other things, you need to seek Christ at work, and all other things will definitely be added unto you. I wish you Godspeed as you go into the workplace. Some of you are there already, and we're very proud of you. I wish you great success as we release you today to make a formidable impact in your world for the kingdom, which is our charge in the Redeemed Evangelical Mission. God bless the Redeemed Evangelical Mission, and God bless Trem Career Academy. Thank you all very much.
I was hoping you won't stop clapping until she leaves this stage. Thank you so much, Deaconess Funke Amobi. Whilst her speech was going on, or her remark, one of the greatest talent manager that I know just walked in, and she happens to be the resident pastor of Trem headquarters. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's put our hands together and appreciate Dr. Mrs. P. Sokonkwo. Thank you so much, Big Mommy, for being here. All right. Whilst Deaconess was reading that remark, she made mention of the fact that two members who came in as single walked into TEP, and now they have become one. But the last time I checked, for what TEP should be doing, it should be raising them to be fantastic and good at the place of work. Because he didn't tell us that you have added family planning and marriage counsel into TEP. But I believe all works together, right? Once again, let's put our hands together for Trem Employability Program. Thank you so very much, ma'am. All right, we'll be going straight to our keynote address for today, and it will be taken by a profound and a prolific organization design specialist whose professional background spans journalism, marketing, customer services, media and advocacy, strategic human resources management, and management consulting from different sectors in Mexico, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom, including Nigeria. She holds a master's degree in international management from Queen Mary University, London, with a key focus on international strategy, a first degree in communication and language arts from the University of Ibadan, and the Prince II and GPHR certifications. In the course of her career, she has worked extensively in the areas of organization designs and development, culture and change management, human resources planning, psychometric and managerial proficiency assessment for a wide array of clients within private and public sectors. Today, she practices her trade as a director in change of the People Advisory Services practice in Ernst & Young as E&Y West Africa. The other times in her career, she worked with PwC Nigeria HR consulting practice, had a stint as a head of human capital of Cornerstone Insurance PLC, Philip Consulting Limited, and as a media officer in the headquarters of the World Health Organization. She is a member of a close-knit family, I love this part, headed by the most loving and supportive commander-in-chief of 2 boys. She enjoys public speaking as part of her extracurricular commitments and is part of the advisory board of WISCA, which is Women in Successful Career, and she's also a mentor to many. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I welcome Mrs. Lola Esson. Come on. If you don't envy that profile, put your hands together for her as she comes up. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Iminets. Thank you again for this opportunity to speak today. the mentor of mentors, my mentor, my big sister, Deaconess Effie, and then, of course, to the distinguished guests that we're honoring today. So please permit me to stand on all existing protocols. Sometimes it takes a while getting used to hearing myself introduced, but I think an occasion like this is important because I think for us who are being celebrated today as graduates, it's a good message that sometimes you could hear all of this and say, oh, wow, when will I get here? But I too started like you. I think that's the first thing. But no, I think we'll just talk. It's important sometimes to hear people's personal stories because the slides might look like something someone in my team has done for me. But when you probably hear me speak, then okay, you probably say, okay, this is probably believable. So I'm speaking to you today about navigating today's job market. But I want us to personalize it a bit, to say situating myself. Of course, in introduction, heard that I have worked through different areas, different sectors, some of which have been local organizations and then international organizations. But my beginning, of course, is Nigerian. I went to the great University of Ibadan, so it means good things can, will, and will continue to come out of Nigeria. Now, if I had your opportunity, when I was at your stage, trust me, maybe I'll be the president of Nigeria, but it's not too late. We're still on that journey. And we would have one in our time, a woman. So I want to just share some tips in terms of what we can do differently. Jobs are scarce, yes. But it's possible to get that job you want. And the first thing stands is that discipline of having gone through this program shows that you're already thinking of that future you want to create. So I studied what a lot of people call Barbie washing courses. Any idea what that is? Okay, so maybe it's a generation thing. So in my time, if you didn't do the sciences, engineering, economics, then you were considered not having done a cool subject. So I did communication and language arts. And for the first few years, I would have to explain to people, oh, it's like mass comm, but it's not mass comm. Year one, we do this, we do that. Oh, okay. And I almost went through the stage where it almost looked like, okay, have I made a mistake choosing this course? But I know now that there are no mistakes when the hand of God is involved. There are no mistakes. So it doesn't matter whether you did what people call a Barbie washing course or where you started from. It's what you have done with the experience. So in the course of waiting to see where this career would take me, where there are many subjects in that 4-year point, I also happen to have been a Nigerian student, so strikes was going to be a reality, which meant whenever that person did 9 months, I would be doing, in some cases, 16 months per year. But you'll be expected to compete in the market with people who probably went abroad, who, of course, will now have the age benefit on their side. So again, there are no mistakes. So what did I do? I spent each year there was a strike looking for work. So each time we had a strike, and maybe year one we were doing journalism, I went to these day newspapers. My name is so and so, I'm in UI, I need a job. I worked there, and trust me, they used me. I behaved like I was a full employee. I went to work early, I did what I had to do, I covered stories, I met people. But you see, some of those connections and the discipline from that job over 20 years ago, I still use it today. So rule number one in navigating that job market, no experience is lost. You are living today as graduates of, if you had to put a price value on this program, it would run into, if not millions of naira. So it's important to have it in mind, what you plan to do with the experience. This is a debt you have to repay, by the way, and repaying that debt is making sure you use this in multiples of benefits for yourself, for your society, and then bring other people into the opportunity. So I go back to the story. Then I finished at this day. Following year, there was a strike. I went to Echo FM. Third year, there was a 6-month break. I went to some ad agency in Ikeja. Meanwhile, by the way, in all of these places, my parents didn't help me. I didn't know anyone. So yes, connections are good, but sometimes we're all equipped with what it takes, and you need to also have that faith. But what did I do? I identified organizations that mattered to me, and I kept getting the opportunity to. I just walked in there, dressed nice, spoke English, what I wanted to do. In all of these, I didn't get a dime. I wasn't paid. I spent 6 months in SO&U, Sachi and Sachi. But as you heard my profile being read, my first job was as a media officer in the WHO in Switzerland. For that particular job, 180 people applied all over the world, but I got it. But how did I get it? It was the sum total of the experiences I had gathered. So during that interview, I spoke, yes, it was a role for graduates, but I had the experience. So the fact that the role you want has not happened yet, it doesn't mean you should not start preparing for it. We know the parable of the 10 virgins. It's used for many illustrations, but one important note for us, in today's job market, you might have the preliminary requirements, in which case they did, but what happened? They did not follow through with preparation. So at the time the opportunity came, they could not tap into it. So, you are searching for a job in 2020. It's good you had the 2-1. It's good you had the first class. But you've gone through this program, that's an edge. So that means that when many people are just trying to figure out what is the workplace conduct, I've seen the curriculum of courses you've gone through. Very rigorous. Those are some of the things that should help us stand out. So in a market where there's oversupply of talent and labor in Nigeria, so recruiters are looking for that one thing that sets you apart. So it's important, how will you differentiate yourself? And let's begin to find that differentiation. So again, I had said I decided to pitch this from a point of view of stories, because sometimes it's hard to believe the things we hear until we see someone who has gone through it. So I went through that job, and then when I finished, it was good and very good money, but somehow the spirit kept on telling me, this is not all you can be. I'm sure a lot of people today will tell you, nothing can come out of Nigeria, there are no jobs, I'm going abroad. Abroad is great. But just know that the fact that you worked for one person, that might not be your story. So when my contract ended, because most jobs in the UN are contracts, it was time to come back. But the spirit told me, come back. I was earning dollars at the time, but I came back to 36,000 naira a month. A lot of people who met me at the time said, how can you do that? You got the opportunity to do it. But I said to them, I was not fulfilled. Yes, it was a great opportunity, great exposure, but I didn't feel I was able to do all I was capable of. So the question I'll ask you today is, the decision for the jobs or the career options, why have you gone after it? What is propelling you? Is it because someone else had done it, or it's a cool career choice, or is what I want to do? A lot of people tell you, no, if I don't work in this bank or that place, I can't find fulfillment. So I want to challenge that thinking, that sometimes when it comes to searching the jobs, you have got to expand your view and your focus. So I came back from an international job, and I started working in an indigenous consulting firm. And I stayed there for 8 years, because part of getting the job you want is you must do the time serving. You don't just blow like that. Unfortunately today, all the messages are preaching quick fix, quick fix. You get the job today, you want to blow tomorrow. A lot of us have seen opportunities to even learn or intern. You say, oh, there's an opportunity to do this. The first question they'll ask you is how much? But what must drive you is, what are you going to learn or do with the skills? There is no vacuum in nature. There is no vacuum. Even though you're not using the skill today, it would be useful tomorrow. Today, I lead a business. I look after EY, HR consulting practice in West Africa, but trust me, all those skills, the discipline of serving is still useful till today. So again, it is also not what people call you, it's what you answer to. The job that has come your way appears to be in a one-man business, but your mates are working in the multinationals. Your own will come. Say amen. Your own will come. But if you do not learn what you have to learn at that point, when you get the international opportunity, you will not even be able to identify it. So when I was moving back to Nigeria, working for Procter & Gamble had been one of my dreams. I had coveted working in that place for so long. And so my mind was, okay, maybe when I come back, I haven't gone abroad, this will be the opportunity. But it was Philips Consulting that came my way. But I stayed there for 8 years. I learned everything I had to learn. And again, when it was time to move, the Spirit told me, you know what? I think it's time to go and try something a bit more challenging. And I said, well, I don't have the ability to do management role yet. How will I do it when I get there? Something kept on saying, apply for the jobs. So self-doubt sometimes can be a problem. And I went for the interview. They said, well, you currently don't have any managerial experience, so how do you plan to do it? I was very open and upfront, but I had people who I knew would give me the shoulders to stand tall. Deaconess Effie is one of them. Sometimes the blessings that God would use to advance is not always immediate. I had met her many years in my career, in my Philips Consulting days, but we didn't have an opportunity to work together. But I didn't know that in future, she would be an instrument of blessing, of growth or advancement. So within your current network today, what are you doing with them? Because sometimes the job that comes your way might not necessarily be the one you saw in the newspaper or the one you saw online. It would be from the network. So the networks we have, what are we doing with them? Our friends, what kind of conversations are we having with them? Because that's the insight. Then I also want to touch on a very important aspect of how we network. LinkedIn is a fantastic opportunity, by the way. A lot of us are on LinkedIn. We're connecting people, we're asking, but again, there's a trend I see which I think is important to speak to. So this opportunity is, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak to it. Networking is great, but let's also not use that opportunity to undermine our efforts. So a lot of us look for the companies we like, and then we add the people who we think can offer us the job. Maybe they're HR there or something. Your first, I need a job in your company. Now there's something you must remember. While we know that jobs are scarce, but as FA said, there are a lot of jobs where people are hiring. So how can you position yourself effectively? The first thing is to achieve the top of mind awareness. So it necessarily don't mean that, oh, you lie or say you are who you are not, just because you think the person will pay attention. If it's on LinkedIn that you're connecting, you must make sure you have something of value that you're offering the person. So you must have spent your time maybe studying that person, what kind of circles, what kind of events. That's a good way. Then you follow them. When you see groups that they belong to, you drop comments, you like comments, you do also. You don't just go straight to the, I need a job. Now, having done that and you've gotten the opportunity to be in certain circles, you also now have the obligation to watch the kind of things you do online. Because guess what? Employers today were checking your social media footprint. Because it's very important. You can't be the nice, respectful person on LinkedIn, and then on Instagram, you're doing something totally, or supporting or liking comments that are not even totally in line with who you have projected yourself to be. So in that world, beyond physical, beyond being here, beyond working, you also need to consider the kind of content you are putting online. It is not a great idea to start straight from, I need a job, I want a job. You must see the kind of trends. The person that's posted an article, comment something, share a perspective, even if it is a contrasting view, you will get the person's attention. And then, of course, I talked about not to shun opportunities that come our way because they don't immediately offer us money. For those of us who have probably been out of work for a while and are thinking, okay, how do I go in? How do I adjust this? It's also important to consider that not only the experiences that are paid for should be on your CV. So the volunteering and support work we do in church is actually work experience, because through that you are learning networking. Through that you're learning resource management. You're caring for people. You're managing relationships. All of those are skills that are useful for the workplace. So you don't wait until you get the job before you build the skills. Now, of course, having done all of this, your CV is very important. What kind of information do we have on the CVs? Because that's also very key. So we've talked about the fact that, well, don't shun any opportunity that comes your way because it's not offering you money. Don't think that the job you want today, because it hasn't come your way, it means it wouldn't happen. But the CV is also key, because by the time you've met me, I've connected with you, I like the kind of thoughts you're putting out there, I think there's an opportunity. Of course, the next thing I would ask for is your resume. And all too often, in the course of doing my job, I see resumes that have, as far as I'm concerned, undervalued individual. There are few details now that are not really necessary. Unfortunately, we live in a world where people tend to prefer either people who are from their tribe or whatever it is. So things like your marital status, your house address, unfortunately is a thing. Jobs on the island will tell you that, oh, this person lives in Ikorodu, so maybe the person will be able to get to work on time. It's a perception thing. It is not right, but it's a reality. Your CV should actually focus on the skills you have acquired. And of course, the trainings and exposures you have. Now, this program, for example, is something that should make it to your CV. Because what it shows is you've gone through a workplace readiness. Those are some of the things that would help you cut through the pile to come to the top when people want to make the selection. I also want to touch on another important point, which is also very personal to me. Rejection can be a good thing, by the way. Who agrees or disagrees with me? Okay, I have one hand. Why do you think rejection could be a good thing? Yeah, you raised your hand up. Why could rejection be a good thing? It allows us to learn from the experiences. most of the times today, we see a growing sense of entitlement. And that, unfortunately, is also some of the things that come through when you interview. You're speaking to the individual, rather than speak about why you think I should give you the opportunity, what you can add to my organization. A lot of us come across in terms of what I want from the organization, and it seeps through. So most times when you get the rejection, it's actually telling you that it's time to prepare yourself. Now, you heard that I worked in PwC. But actually, I had gotten rejected from PwC before. But I didn't take it as an endorsement of my not being good enough. Instead, what did I do? It was feedback to me that there was still a lot for me to learn and do. Now, if I had gotten it then, when I applied, chances are that I would not have valued the opportunity or built on the opportunity. So I had gone to do the standard test and all of that, and then they reached out to say, you know, the standard, unfortunately, you will not be able to. And I was still in Phillips Consulting, by the way, which is an indigenous consulting firm. And I told myself, you know, what are those things that they do there that I didn't have? I now made a few friends that worked there. I started learning the skills that I think they like. By the time I would make it into PwC in 2013, I wasn't looking for a job. They created a job for me. It was a simple, oh, come and have a conversation. And the person said, you need to work with us. And in 2 weeks, they said, you know what, come and pick up your letter. So I really didn't have an interview. So it's not every time that they say, oh, no, that it means the door is shut. You just need to try and figure out what should you do differently to improve your chances. And some of that, like I said, could involve going to deliberately get other experiences that can impact the value, so that by the time it comes, you'll be like, yes, I'm ready. Of course, PwC, multinational. By the time I was moving to EY, again, I did not look for a job. It was an invitation. So I started out with you, like you were. I was looking for jobs. I did what I had to do. But like I said, I stayed hungry. I stayed relevant. So now let's talk about some of the skills you would need for the workplace of the future. Because at the end of the day, it's really changing. Your first degree is a meal ticket, and that's what it is. It allows you a leg to stand on, but it is not a platform that would stay durable for a while. So every other experience you are adding on top of it would help you navigate squarely. One, for example, is to make sure that you know what the current needs are. If you look at the skills required for future of work, none of our standard engineering, math, law, and all of those things are there. But one of the skills that comes out strongly is cognitive flexibility. That's your ability to think and change your thinking to flow with different scenarios. It's a requirement. Another one is emotional intelligence. So the world is moving towards a soft angle. So yes, the technical is good, but also make sure you are honing your skills daily on what it will take you to survive in the real world of work. And belonging to families such as this, of course, is very useful. Because that way, you're getting training on those skills daily. Now, the other thing, of course, is branding and how you put yourself out there. Like I said, there is already an oversupply of talent. So for you to actually get attention, you have got to do something extra. This does not mean lying on your CV, by the way, or positioning yourself as an expert or a specialist when you know your skills are still upcoming. Focus on those other things that would make you unique. And like I said, stay hungry to acquire the skills. Also, what are you doing with the networks you have? What kind of conversations are you having? How are you working with and through other people to get you closer and closer to where you want? If your network is full of people who are probably happy to just discuss what's in, what's hot, chances are that even when you even get a chance to sit before your chosen employer, the kind of responses or answers you would have to world issues would not be enough to set you apart or to differentiate you. So those are very, very important things to focus on, differentiating yourself. I talked about social media already, but I think I also want to go back there quickly. So the social media is a great tool, but it could also be a challenge when it comes to navigating the job market. So, by all means, put out information out there that is wholesome and acceptable. But bear in mind, like I said, that if you are targeting certain sectors or certain organizations, you cannot be saying or doing anything that shows to not be in tandem with their ideals. So that means that when you set your eyes or your mind on certain employers, you must try and find out what matters to them. When, of course, you connect people who can help you get in there, your first conversation cannot be that, excuse me, sir, I'm looking for a job. And please, this is also the flip side I have seen. When the job also comes through, the person didn't even come back to say, thank you so much, this has happened, I met so and so. 3 years later, you get I think I'm ready to move on. If I show you my inbox, you see all sorts in there. A sense of gratitude is key when you're on the journey. Because if you don't know how to say thank you when it comes to, when you're looking for, when you find it, you will not appreciate it, and chances means that you will not even be able to carry others up. And as I said when I started, going through the TEP is actually a debt which you must repay. So as you're also on that journey, you must have others that you're pulling behind you. That's the only way the economy grows. And guess what? Things like networking skills, belonging to organizations belonging to associations where you are active are also pluses that employers are looking for. A strong network helps. Most of the opportunities I've had is simply because of my network. I cannot say it's on the basis of sheer hard work. Yes, hard work helped in the beginning, but towards the end, it became the strength of my network, my mentors, people who are giving me guidance, giving me direction. Now, having said all of this, how do you then go looking for the jobs? Because that's also a very key criteria. One, of course, would be through standard job searches. People put out information, they're looking for people. Someone tells you there's a vacancy somewhere. But there are certain rules and principles that, in fact, I haven't gone through this program. I don't even think we need to dwell on it. Honesty is a policy. You can't embellish facts on your CV and think that, oh, by the time you get there, you will talk your way through it. It doesn't work that way. And in your own case, to whom much is given, much is expected. So you don't even have a choice. It cannot be said that one of you falsified age or falsified experience because they wanted to get in. Because what you have done is not represent the opportunity or the platform well. Now, when you have the job, what and what should you put together? I have talked about what should be on your CV and what should not be on it. It's very important that your CV has to speak to either what you have done or what you are able to do. Now, if you are just looking for a job, things like the fact that you had leadership responsibility in university and all of that is key. But if you are mid-career, of course, some of those things begin to slow down in favor of what you have achieved and accomplished. Now, any information or certification which you cannot justify, please leave it out. So a few people are still doing their accounting, HR, purchasing and supply exams, but rather than say in view, they put it there that they have the certificate already. It's nothing but being pure dishonest. That's the actual truth. Say it for what it is, that it is in view. And during the interview, you can even use the opportunity to set yourself apart in the pile by speaking to how and why you decided on that choice or on that certification. But don't put it there that you have it, hoping to get a differentiation. Now, by the time you go for the interview, certain rules are also quite important. Even Joe moving through, because again, at a stage, it ceases to be the qualifications. It's now word of mouth and reference. People will be saying, talk to this person. Or you just don't know how, so you get invited for an interview. It is now the good deeds, the evidence you left behind when you were given the opportunity. I talked about gratitude already. I talked about not having that sense of entitlement that, oh, this has come my way, so I will get it, because people are actually watching. I talked about how my last 2 jobs I have not applied. I was referred for them. And that would be the experience as you go on. So it's very important to focus on that. Then, of course, the next thing is to ask yourself what you plan to give back to the company. I know it sounds funny, right? Because they've given you a job. What's your own with what you need to give back? But the whole idea of leaving a legacy is not just from when we build schools or hospitals. You actually leave legacy with the kind of work you do, with the kind of experiences you leave behind. I have seen the curriculum you've gone through, and a lot of it, in fact, is about how you live or serve as an employee who leaves impact. And so sometimes like this person, they say, oh yes, when she was here, A, B, C, D, E, F, G are the things she did and left behind. And that's also key. Because when we do reference checks these days, we actually ask, is there anything notable you want to say about the individual? So don't just be somebody who worked somewhere for X number of months or years because they had a job and then you moved on. And then, of course, how you left or how you leave is also key. And this is the interesting thing. You should not be planning for when you leave, when you're about to leave. And that's also tied closely to how you leave the legacy. You should be planning what it would be like. Because guess what? That is the network or the ecosystem that you will keep tapping into. So, essentially, you must see, one is to down some of the tension around, jobs are hard, jobs are scarce, because you are hearing people who work in different places, so it will happen. But the question is, what is your plan for creating that differentiation? What is your plan for creating abundance in a space where it appears like there's none? You've done the first set, which is successfully going through this program. That gives you an edge. But in return for the privilege of going through this, as well as justifying, because you could have spent this time doing something else, by the way, but you chose to be here. So to justify that effort, that investment in yourself, it's important to then follow through with the plan for what you plan to do with the experience. And like I said, a critical part of it is also giving back. And it's not until you have money that you can give back. There are many ways of doing that. Then hope is not a strategy, like I said. So you desire to work in a certain place. What is the plan? You don't have the skills right now. What are the things you need to put in place? I've talked about the skills we need for the future. I've talked about the kind of behavior, the kinds of networks, what we should do for them or with them in terms of preparing that dream job. So they tell you no today, but it doesn't mean it's no forever. And I gave you the instance with myself. I eventually worked in the company and I left, but at least I got in there. I kept at it. I kept improving myself. And then, of course, faith is very important. If you know that God has not made us, he would not leave us in our point of need. If he can provide for the beds in the air, then in our own case, why not? So you want to work for whatever company it is. It might look like it is out of radar now, but trust me, if I can do it. I got a job where 180 people applied for globally, and I still got the job from Nigeria, from studying in Nigeria. You can do it. Right now, someone has told you that, oh, you did a Barbie washing course, so it appears you might not be able to make anything out of it. There must be something about that Barbie washing course that you can turn around in your favor. I've shown you the instance of how I did that. And I'm still using those skills today. So nature does not allow for vacuum. Nothing is lost. And then, of course, stay relevant. And the kind of staying relevant is not just knowing the trend in terms of what is happening on social media, but continue to follow the trend for what skills we need. The individuals who we have identified as people who can help us on that career search and journey, when you connect with them, remember you must leave something of value behind. It's not just, hello, hello, sir, I'm looking for a job, or I've always followed your company. You have to have something. That's how you get top of mind awareness. That's how you get a person's mind. That's how they remember you. Then, of course, you have to pray about your goals. Hope is not a strategy. You must pray about those goals. You must commit it. You must speak life to it every day. When I had the discipline of writing my goals, I realized that when I go back, I almost have a near 100% achievement. So it's not too late. That company that you desire to work for, write it down. In fact, even get as specific to the role you want and begin to work towards it and keep praying about it, and trust me, it would happen. So ladies and gentlemen, I had 30 minutes and I believe I have kept to 30 minutes. I just want to thank you again for the platform. I'm looking forward to seeing some of you in my office, hopefully, in future, around. But I would just like to end by reminding you that going through this experience is a debt which you must repay in terms of what you do with the experience and the other people you bring to experiences as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Another round of applause for Mrs. Lola Esson. Thank you so much, ma. She has said a lot, and I hope that we heard so much that would benefit us, most especially for the grad ones. I took my own notes, and I could pick so much from what she has said. One of the things she has said is no time is wasted. So whatever time you wasted, even when it looks like you're not doing what you want to do, just know that whatever you are doing is part of your experience. So don't count it as a time wasted. Another thing that she said that is so strong is that stop jumping about looking for visa. All that you do, don't forget that you need prayers. I think I took it upon myself this year that I will reduce my presence on some social media sites, not because they are not beneficiary to some people, but I think to me it could be a form of distraction. So I decided to pay more attention if I'm permitted to mention it, to LinkedIn, where I think that there are professionals that can actually inspire me to do what I want to do. Not those who will be showing you shoe and chain and be shouting Gucci, Gucci, Gucci. But that's not where you want to end. All right, so as we move on, we'd like to quickly call on the principal for Trem Employability Program to take up the next assignment. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I welcome Sister Yemisi Oshunkoya. Was she hard to you guys in school? Put your hands together for her.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Big Mommy. I will stand on all protocol. Yes, I'm going to start with first to let us know that for this career TEP employability program, we've graduated about 200 alumni. Today we are graduating 36 participants. We don't have all of them because some of them are presently working. In fact, some of them got jobs immediately and they are right now working outside Lagos. So we have with us here about 25 from the 36. I'm going to call your names, and as I call your names, you come out, you file out. And you've been informed how you're going to come out. So please, I start with stream 9. Last year we had 2 streams, 9 and 10. So Okonji Gloria Ekene, that's the first person. Rachel Organ, Bamidele Oluwa Sheun. Please clap for them. It's not easy. It is not easy. Hega Uche, Ebia Buchi Chioma, Ajibade Samuel, Chidima Favor Ekweme, Eunice Chioma. Encourage them as they come up. Ayala Rebecca Omolade, Shode Boluwatife, Fowe Omoamuno, Olanipekun Ololade, Daniel Oluwatosin, Osita Indidi Amaka, Oji Kelvin Chukudike, Ezuaka Ebube, John Godswill, Prince Will Nonso Uko, Nneka Adaobi Ezechukwu, Ogbonna Chukwuemeka. Stream 9, I'll call on stream 10. Chukudubem Kingsley, Aziz Ibrahim, Pius Comfort Fumilayo, Ota Emmanuel Omorodion, Azoro Juliet Onye, Ricky Osalumese, Adetola Oluwaseun, Falade Solomon Olusheyi, Okonji John, just excuse me, please. Okoji John, sorry. Emmanuel Chukwudi Moye. Praise the Lord. What happened to you people? You didn't hear your names? They were late. Okay. Afam Ngozi. Owabuba Uzo Steven. Otunaya Demilade Olufemi. Eboluwa Martins. David Martins. Otaloki Obaseki. Edward Emmanuel Isang. Thank you very much. This is the stream 9 and stream 10. I present to you our graduating participants for the TEP Employability Program for 2019. Stream 9 and stream 10. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sister Yemisi. They were always getting you into that, into that mood. But thank God you did not switch into the mood. Once again, let's put our hands together for them. And please, I would ask that you just file down stage and then face the dais, because it is time for Big Mommy to pray for you. So please just do me a favor. Just file down and then face the dais. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome people. Thank you. Yeah. Take a cue. Take a cue. Take a cue. Thank you. Okay. No. Yes. Don't worry. Anywhere you stand, the prayer will touch you. Don't worry. Just be sure you are standing right in front of her. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me put your hands together for Bishop Mrs. Peace Okonkwo as she comes up. Thank you, Mom.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I want to bless the name of the Lord for today. I thank God for Deaconess Funka Mobi, the chairperson, and all her team. Let's celebrate them. Let's celebrate them. They've been doing a good work. Thank you so much. I don't know where some people would have been without TEP. People are now having jobs, going places, because you people sacrifice and still sacrificing. You will not lose your reward. Thank you so very much. And I want to thank our guest speaker, Mrs. Esson. You are of the Esson family, am I right? What you spoke today, I've gotten something from it. If you go by what she has said, let me tell you, you will go places. One thing that kept on reading, look at money, because this generation, everything is about money. You tell them to move this from here to here, how much will... So you have not heard her. I encourage you to get the tape, so that you play it over and over and over again. It will be a blessing to you. And if you have as said, I can assure you, by the time we hear about you, it will be a different ball game. God will take you from glory to glory. So be encouraged, no matter where the level you're starting. Look at what she said. She said she walked in places and she didn't take money. Who will do that today? The first person. But I believe that after you've heard her, you're going to put it into practice, and God helping you. I am seeing graduates today, but I'm seeing people that will go places tomorrow. Actually, one of my pastors, one of my reverends in the north, the daughter came on holiday to come back to where they are, because Lagos is very... I say, what is she coming to do for you? She's already a graduate. I said, there's TEP in headquarters. Let her join them. Before she could finish, she's already gotten a job. Yeah. That is what these people are doing. Thank you so very much. Let's pray for them. Our gracious Lord, I thank you. I give you the praise, I give you honor, I give you adoration for these ones. Thank you, because a lot of deposits have been deposited in them. And I pray, oh God, that you will lead them step by step. Every step shall lead them to their destiny. In the name of Jesus, Father, none of them will be a fall away. Father, what you have put in them, they will use it. And to your glory and your honor, I command an open door. These ones will make a formidable impact in the world for the kingdom. In the name of Jesus, Father, strengthen them. In the name of Jesus, Lord, I ask, oh God, that you settle each and every one of them. In the name of Jesus, I cover them with the blood of Jesus. They will go places. In the name of, they will shine as the light of the world. in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. By the time we hear about them next time, we'll be hearing great stories to your glory, to your honor, and to your adoration. In Jesus' wonderful name, amen. And I want to thank God for the recruiters that are here today. I believe God that some of them will be taken so that they can add value to what you're doing. God bless you in Jesus' name. Let's celebrate them one more time. It's not easy to pass through this. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so I just want us to use this opportunity to take pictures with Big Mommy. Big Mommy, please crave your indulgence to step into the middle and this way, Mom. If you've received your handshake, please, you can go back to your seat. If you have received your handshake, please, you can go back to your seat. Thank you, Big Mommy. Thank you, Mom, for your presence, for your word of encouragement and prayers, and for your support. Big Mommy, we're still craving your indulgence, Mom, because at this point, we are sharing testimonies from these graduates. Some of them have actually graduated, and they belong to the to other streams, not just from this stream. So we'll be taking testimonies at this particular time. So the first testimony we're taking is from Rachel Kika Organ, who is now gainfully employed with Stanbic IBTC. Let's have you give your testimony. Please let me say this ahead. Please keep it short and simple. We have listened to the keynote speaker. We've listened to the word of encouragement from Big Mommy. Tell us your testimony and keep it brief. Don't worry, you're already in IWPC. So just keep your testimony brief. Once again, let's put our hands together for Rachel.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm starting on existing protocol. My name is Rachel Kika-Jogogan, and I'm a graduate of Stream 9 TEP. Okay, so TEP, first of all, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Big Mommy. Thank you so much, Ma, for this initiative. Thank you so much, Dickness Funke Amobi. Thank you so much, all the facilitators, all the program officer. Big thank you. Please, we can clap for them because they've put in time, they've put in their experience, and they've put in their knowledge to educate us. Okay, my testimony is very fast. Last year, 2018 October, sorry, my NYSC contract ended, and I was given another contract to stay till February, and in February, the whole contract ended, and we weren't retained, and I had to start all over. I was confused, I was scared, I was sad, but that was the same time the TEP advert was going around in the church, and my mom was like, you know what, just apply. I didn't even know what they were doing, but in fact, immediately I saw it in church, I put the link, I continued to follow up with the website, continued to ask around, and in March, we started the program. Fortunately, in March, I had already gotten a job, but it was more of a temporary one, and I told my employer then that I have this program, TEP, and it's going to be a stepping stone, and he permitted me to come for my classes. Then my office was even in Abeokuta, so I had to travel down to Lagos every Wednesday evening so that I could attend my classes for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and go back after church on Sunday. And like the journey was that for over 6 weeks or so. I think the classes were over 6 weeks, and I kept doing that. I think 5th or 6th week of the program, Dickness Funke Amobi came to talk to us about adding value in your place of work. That was basically everything she said that day. Just add value in your place of work. She asked us for our talent, our skills, and to everyone. The person beside me, she now stopped asking for skill. I'm like, this woman must hear my own skill. They can't stop there. And I raised up my hand. I was like, Ma, I have this, I have this, I have that. And she was like, you shouldn't be jobless. I'm like, yes, Ma, I shouldn't be jobless. I've positioned myself here and everything about the values of the organization. Another 6 weeks of exams and tests, and it was a whole process. And I'm just thankful because October last year, we were inducted into the graduate training program, and I'm standing here, I'm celebrating my 4th.
Thank you. Yes, it was short. When Mrs. Lola was saying you should give back, she wasn't, hello, she wasn't referring to your rosette. She was saying you should give back to the society, not to the altar. Once again, let's put our hands together for Rachel. Don't worry, she's my friend, so she understands the joke. Okay, so I'll be calling up another graduate today who is seated here and currently working for Access Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Chidima Ekweme. Chidima, please.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Big Mommy. Praise the Lord. Okay, my name is Chidima Ekweme, a graduate, Stream 9. TEP has really touched every area of my life, especially my interpersonal relationship with people. Formerly, I'm this kind of person. When you come to me saying you have one problem or another, I'll be like, okay, sort your shit yourself. I don't have time, don't stress me. But now I can sit down, listen to you. In fact, I enjoy listening to people. When they tell me stuff, I will sit down and say, okay, how do we solve this problem? Thank God and thank TEP for that. Okay, formally, all right. I think that would be my short testimony for now. So thank you. Thank you, Big Mommy. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dickness Amobi, for this opportunity.
You are the best. Let's put a hand up. Thank you. Thank you. Because I know that if I allow you now, you can wax a whole record here now. But thank you for keeping it short. So we'll move to the alumni because they are also here. And the very first testimony I'll be taking from them would be that of Joy Daniels. She's currently working with Nestle. Joy, you heard Chidimao. You heard Rachel. Keep it short and
Good afternoon.